So television is delivering the kind of precision targeting that we once thought only possible in digital. Because if you think about historically, these kind of limited, some would say traditional viewpoints on what tactics were used for in the media mix, TV was thought to be for broad reach and mass communication. And there was a time when some would even have said that cable was considered targeting. TV never got its credit for impacting mid and lower funnel. By contrast, and by virtue of what it is and what it can do, digital was almost strategically subscale because you were trying to isolate and target specific consumers precisely. So it was perceived as more of a performance tactic, and maybe really never got its fair chance or shot at big brand dollars. I think we've come to see and realize that these aren't mutually exclusive choices that we've got to make or trade-offs that we've got to make anymore. Advancements like audience onboarding and impression-based buying, cross-screen, certainly planning and optimization using data, and last but not least, I think unified measurement have collapsed and consolidated these sideload understandings and applications of media and of data. And so now we can look at it holistically as a video channel that can deliver both precision and targetability at massive scale.
Now, healthcare brands are trying to reach condition-specific TV audiences. So, what role would OpenAP play in this case?
Yeah, so networks, MVPDs, streamers, brands, agencies, data providers, they all have come to rely on OpenAP to help solve the video fragmentation challenges that exist. So any pharma or life sciences brand can come to OpenAP and describe who they want to reach from a consumer standpoint. OpenAP has an extensive data sourcing practice and partnerships group. And so we have relationships, an extensive stable of data providers. So we'll go out and find the very best sources of that data. We have direct integrations with all of these partners. We'll onboard those audiences centrally. We'll make those audiences available for use on all screens and all platforms. And then we'll syndicate and distribute it out all at once to every premium video endpoint in the market. And so if you think about what that does, brands are instantly connected to the most premium video supply as well as all of the very best sources of data. Suppliers can maximize revenue and yield because they're enriching the value of their inventory with these rich data signals. And then data partners are able to onboard data to OpenAP, and it takes hours, not days and weeks. So getting it from point A to point B really efficiently is a huge differentiator for them as well.
Speaking of data, privacy safe solutions are really critical for healthcare marketing. Where are we at with data on TV?
The OpenAP subscribes to the omnibus definition of data protection with regards to sensitive personal information. We believe that NAI and HIPAA compliance are kind of the bare minimum standard requirements for compliance, but that you really ought to go well above and beyond that. So
Mhm.
from there, we have a really extensive diligence process that we work on with our data partners as it relates to SPI and Pharma. And all of this is meant to be an added protective measure on top of the comprehensive processes that suppliers are already applying. So we see this as a really big differentiator that we're able to act as this partner and filter for suppliers who really need to stay abreast and on top of how this regulatory landscape is changing and evolving. So as a part of that, data partners have to approach targeting either on the basis of campaign IDs that, from a reporting perspective, can't be tied to individuals or households, or they must show that they can use data that falls outside of SPI. And so the ways to do that are to reaffirm that there's no PII being collected, to make sure that folks understand that the data is de-identified and encrypted. So some of these sort of zero knowledge approach that Swoop and others take, no seed lists, no lookalike models, There are minimum audience size controls put in place. And then lastly, kind of like no demographic profiling. So as to make sure that you can't infer a specific person's condition. So we're working with partners really closely to ensure that they can unpack their methodology granularly as it relates to ensuring that not only are they not collecting data and using PII, but that no inferences can actually be drawn either. And so the only way to really do this is to partner really extensively with the data providers and to provide transparency and to contract with all of these things in mind. And I think it's all about going beyond what's required to ensure that everyone is staying ahead of future regulatory changes, not just doing what's absolutely required today.
And looking ahead, is there technology or innovation that you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, it's funny. I think it's amazing to see how much culture has changed just anecdotally. Wearables, I think like Aura rings and Whoop and Apple Watches have made health a priority every day. And oh, by the way, are kind of rich data assets all into themselves. I've heard of preteen holiday wish lists, including skincare routines. I think our wish lists were like tanning oil. So things have just really changed. I think beyond that, one of the clearest examples of TV and streaming's power is what we've just witnessed with GLP-1 drugs. I'm really fascinated by all of this as kind of a real in the wild case study. I think it's remarkable how quickly these treatments became household names. Awareness spread at lightning speed. That is the power of mass reach and of premium video and of television in particular. And I think that's probably where the real opportunity lies. Imagine channeling that same kind of momentum towards rare diseases, cancer research, and other condition-specific treatments. And I think with the right data and identity and measurement, TV and streaming can connect those treatments and draw those connection points between consumers and physicians and actually track whether that awareness led to consideration and actual impact and outcomes. So I think it just shows kind of the viral nature of our culture at the moment. It started with a spark on television, but it also proves that the flywheel works. And I think if we apply all of this intentionally and with accountability and responsibly, we can use pharma advertising not just to sell more, but to actually change lives for the better. I think of it as pharma for good, and I'm really excited about the potential that that unlocks.